You are now entering Armbar Audio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Armbar Audio. I'm your host, Tim Farley, and next to me is my trusted companion,
John Kearns. What's up, everybody?
Today is Fans Bring the Topics 3. And that means you, the listener/viewer, have given us topics or questions for us to address about our personal thoughts on the world of pro wrestling.
And maybe even some other subjects.
Maybe. Now, let's get to it. Wrestling journalist and very, very good internet wrestling
I would say
influencer for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I would say god of New Japan Pro Wrestling history.
Sierran contacted us via Instagram and asked us, what's your favorite year of a wrestler? Now, I took this as my favorite year of my favorite wrestler. So, do you mind if I answer first?
Not at all.
I will go from April 6th, 2013 to April 6th, 2014 for one Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
The entire year leading to him beating Triple H and then Randy Orton and Batista at Mania was fantastically written and drawn out. The Yes movement happening around the same time as, well, maybe not the same time, but mirroring the Occupy movement. Daniel Bryan being regarded as the B-plus player, even though he was shining throughout. He was in gauntlet matches against the Real Americans and everybody else. He was feuding with Randy Orton a lot. He put on really good matches, and it really, as a fan, there was a feeling that even though it was a work, and it was to get Daniel Bryan as over as humanly possible till WrestleMania, there was a feeling that they felt that way. And you could definitely understand why someone would see that, because he's not what the McMahons have always pushed to the top. There are always exceptions, like
Right.
a person who can't be named, and Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. But at the time, aside from CM Punk, he was, and the guys that I named, he was the only guy who, at the time, could have been in that role. And it was really hard for me to pick this year because Daniel Bryan / Bryan Danielson has had many great years. You could pick the year that he feuded with Nigel McGuinness or Kenta in Ring of Honor, where he unified the Ring of Honor World and Pure titles against Nigel McGuinness. I mean, you could talk about the man's entire career really.
You're right.
But I think the pinnacle, storytelling especially, was ended at WrestleMania 30. Thank you for that question. John, what's yours?
So, I'm going to take you on a little history lesson, if I can. From June to late August 2011, one wrestler named CM Punk pretty much changed the wrestling business as we know it today. It was deemed afterwards as the Summer of Punk.
Started with the pipe bomb.
Started with the pipe bomb promo. Started the whole, I feel it kind of started, or maybe didn't start, but definitely solidified and extenuated the turning of the fans on John Cena.
Yeah, Punk
the
was
pipe
reaching.
bomb really
His
kicked it
merch
off.
levels were at Cena's level,
Yeah,
but they didn't want you to know that.
but alas, no promotion, no pictures on the cups, no pictures on the program,
Right.
no video stinger in the intro. But I mean, it started with the pipe bomb and ended with him leaving WWE with the WWE title.
Yeah, that's the summer. But then, after that, when he came back,
Yeah.
started the big time reign.
Yeah, very much so. Had great matches with a plethora of WWE superstars. So yeah, I'm gonna say 2011 to like early 2012 is my favorite year of a wrestler, and that wrestler being one CM Punk.
This was a
Thank
great
you for that question.
Great question.
Saren is great. Worth a Twitter follow if you're even remotely interested in New Japan and other pro wrestling promotions. Check him out.
Our boy Craig Damien on Instagram from Ireland. He's been following us for a long time.
Yes.
He said, who should win at Rebellion, Omega or Swan? Who would help Impact more? John, you can answer first.
I mean, it's got to be Omega, right? As to who's going to help Impact. I mean, it's going to start. It has to start Omega's whole thing about collecting titles. He's got the AAA title already. He's got the AEW title. It seems like the next logical step is the match that he has at Rebellion and winning the Impact World title. The newly unified Impact World title, might I add.
Now, why would that help Impact more?
I mean, because it's Kenny Omega. If people hear that Kenny Omega is the Impact World Champion, they're going to start watching Impact. Something that a very large portion of people are not doing now.
Well, they are doing now because he's been involved.
Yeah.
I saw this on the internet.
And I'll throw a little bit of credit towards Finn Juice's way as well.
I'll throw this out there first before I answer. I saw this on the internet. Kenny Omega as AEW champion has headlined 2 pay-per-views. One of them ended up being Impact's second most bought pay-per-view in the post-Spike era. The other one is the most bought AEW pay-per-view yet, and the highest grossing non-WWE wrestling pay-per-view since 1999. That's a draw, folks.
That's a draw.
Impact numbers.
It doesn't matter if you like it or not.
Impact weekly numbers have grown exponentially with the Callis Good Brothers Kenny Omega stuff. Now we're starting to see, like you said, Finn Juice there and such.
Finn Juice is the Impact champions.
Now, I could see why people should say Swan because he's the Impact guy. But here's the thing. You got to look at the big picture here. This storyline, okay, has helped open the forbidden door. This storyline, aside from Jon Moxley in New Japan, this is the other thing. This is what opened the door. These are the 2 hands that they had to use. You are going to get a story for a year or maybe more, depending on pandemic and how much money these companies make, you know. But Kenny Omega winning the Impact title, he's a draw. It's going to make people want to watch Impact more. It's going to make people want to watch Kenny Omega wherever he is. Whether that's a AAA defense, whether that's AEW. And we're seeing New Japan wrestlers starting to show up, right? And we're seeing other wrestlers show up on New Japan Strong and all this other stuff, and private parties talking about ROH. We're going to get the cleaner collector. And that is going to unify most, if not all, pro wrestling outside of WWE.
Yep.
Will it continue forever? No. Omega will lose those titles eventually. But this Kenny Omega's shirts, when he right at the end of New Japan, said change the world. This is what he was talking about. He wanted to change the wrestling world in multiple ways. And this is a major, major fucking way. So, Omega will win. He should win. And he will help Impact more than anyone who's ever come there post-Spike era.
I'm in agreement. That was a good answer. Great question. Another good person to follow on the Insta.
Yes.
What is next?
Captain Shay Lloydson on Instagram. He's an 18-year-old guy. He wanted to know tips for becoming a pro wrestler. Since I dabbled a little, I'll tell you this. Wherever you are, you want to look up the most credible school. Okay? That means you don't want to take a no-namer bullshit school. Right. You want somebody who has experience. Most likely the school will have a promotion, an indie promotion alongside it. If they get a lot of traction and a lot of names to come to their on their shows, that's another good indicator. If you don't have any of this around, you need to look for something as close as possible.
Yeah.
Before you get to that point, you want to make sure that you can squat a lot, body weight wise. You want to make sure your push-ups and your squats are on point. You want to learn rolling, like a ninja roll, a back roll, stuff like that. So you're a little ahead of the game whenever you get to your tryout, because those are things you're going to have to do. Don't worry about the character. That'll come. I mean, if you're imaginative and you're creative and you have all these ideas, that's great, do it. But what you want to focus on when you get into one of these schools is the fundamentals. You need the fundamentals in your head as much as possible. But yeah, I would say, you got to go to a reputable school as close as possible. And before you get there, you have to make sure your nutrition is decent, and your push-ups and your squats, not weighted. You don't have to do weighted squats. Just do Hindu squats. If you don't know what Hindu squats are, look it up. I'm sure it's on YouTube, wherever. You want to learn those rolls, because then whenever you get that tryout, you're pretty much a shoo-in.
Yeah, I don't really have any tips for becoming a wrestler because I've never looked into it, but I can definitely answer the second question. Is it easier to be a heel or a face? I have to imagine it's exponentially easier to get people to hate you than to get them to love you.
Absolutely.
I mean,
every podcast we've listened to, every interview we've listened to.
And a lot of people would bitch about getting cheap heat, but on the indies, it doesn't really matter so much. And especially when you're first starting out, getting cheap heat is fine as far as I'm concerned when you're trying to start out.
Yeah. Also, a heel can do anything. They can do anything they want. They're not limited. They could do, if they want to pull out this move, they could do blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Faces have a very set character, a very set what they're allowed to do or supposed to do in the ring. Being a heel, you're more. It allows you to be more creative with yourself and be just able to do more and have fun with it. You can't fuck it up.
Yeah.
But being a face, you can fuck up easily. In like instances where, you got a submission on somebody, you can't go to that 4 or 5 count.
Yeah.
You can't, You can't do any
Can't
little
do-
dirty tactic
Yeah.
at all. You can't. You have to stick to a certain guideline, and
I mean, here's how easy it is to be a heel. Imagine he's a 12-year-old and I'm walking to the ring. I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna go like that. Heel.
and I instantly fucking hate him.
Yeah. Because you're a 12-year-old and you hate anybody who makes you embarrassed
Now, if
or
he-
slights you in any way.
If he comes at me and he's like, "Hey, hi, how are you?"
And I'm like, bam.
I'm like, "Okay, why
That
should
kid
I
loves
care
me."
about
Yeah.
him?"
Right.
You know, I might love him, but also it's harder to get people to love you than hate you, like you said at the
But
beginning.
if I go out there and I kick the shit out of the guy that did this move,
True,
yeah.
true. Our friend,
But yeah, great question.
our friend on Twitter, one called Baymax, said, "Since the Forbidden Door is open, give us a
it's open,
Dream
baby.
8-match pandemic card using AEW, New Japan, Impact," and he threw NXT in there, and I allowed him, even though
'Cause
the
it's fantasy.
Forbidden Door isn't in there, but it's his question and it's fantasy. And Baymax, I want to tell you this. It was hard for me to limit it to 8 matches for men and women, so I made a men's card and a woman's card. My men's card reads as such: FTR versus Grizzled Young Veterans. Imagine if they could have locked horns in NXT. My God, what a technical! I mean, all the stuffs, so good. We have the originator against the current leader, Finn Balor against Jay White.
Ooh.
Both amazing wrestlers. And we've seen Jay versus Omega. I would love to see Jay versus Balor. Shingo Takagi versus Ilya Dragunov, because I want all the lariats. I want all the strong style. I want blood. I want beaten chests. I want the violence.
Give it to me now.
I would have an Ultimate X match featuring newly christened X Division champion Ace Austin, Rey Fenix, Jungle Boy, Chris Bay, LP, and Isaiah Swerve Scott. I believe these men could do amazing things in this match. I would then have a dream match. And one of these teams are not a team right now, but they're still both active in NXT. DIY against the Young Bucks. Give it to me. Now. Speaking of chops and bleeding
'em up.
chests,
Chop him up.
Minoru Suzuki versus Walter. The fact that this hasn't happened
Not Big Daddy.
makes me sad. Going off of current things that Tama Tonga has been talking about, the Good Brothers against GOD. I would have a War Games / Blood and Guts match between Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, Sami Callihan, Moose, and Will Ospreay against Rich Swann, Okada, Ibushi, Moxley, and Kyle O'Reilly. Basically, your top heels and your top faces of those promotions going at it. My woman's card. Io Shirai, the Genius of the Sky, against the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart against Jordan Grace and Jazz. Chris Statlander versus Tony Storm. Call it the Battle of the Asses, if you will. Hikaru Shida against Kaylee Ray. Really long-running female champions. Rosemary versus Abaddon. And make it as creepy as possible.
Yeah.
Now, John, they say the best chemistry in a wrestling match is when you have two very good or best friends.
Yeah.
We've seen this with Jon Moxley and Seth Rollins. We've seen this with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Maybe that is the pinnacle of what we're talking about. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Now, I don't know if anyone knows, whoever knows this knows it, whatever. Diamante and Kiera Hogan, I believe, are married. So, I would have Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, Fire and Flava, against the women's tag team medal winners, Diamante and Ivelisse.
Yeah.
I would have hardcore student versus hardcore teacher, Candice LeRae versus Britt Baker. And rounding out my female card, I would have Nyla Rose versus Raquel Gonzalez. So, how about you, John?
So I took this idea with AEW, NJPW, Impact, and NXT and decided that what I would do is that I would create a card of all Fatal 4-Way matches featuring one from each promotion. For the women's matches, they are all triple threat matches because New Japan does not have a women's roster. So, I'm starting it off heavy with some tag team turmoil, pitting Finjuice against the Young Bucks, against MSK, against the Decay, represented by Crazy Steve and Black Taurus.
Fantastic.
I've got some cruiserweight chaos, I'd call it. It's going to be all alliteration. It's going to be awesome. Taiji Ishimori versus Jungle Boy versus Johnny Gargano versus Ace Austin. For my knockdown drag-out Hoss fight match, I've got Shingo versus Lance Archer versus Karrion Kross versus Moose. I've got a Bullet Club Summit, you could call it, but like a fight. Jay White, Finn Balor, Kenny Omega, Carl Anderson. My women's matches, I've got Deonna Purrazzo versus Britt Baker versus Shotzi Blackheart. I've got Jordan Grace versus Nyla Rose versus Raquel Gonzalez for a female house fight. And then I've got some technicality stuff with Tasha Steelz, Big Swole, and Xia Li. My main event would be a Fatal 4-Way Lights Out match. Anything goes. Minoru Suzuki, Jon Moxley, Sami Callihan, Tommaso Ciampa.
That would be amazing. 100%. Our cards are...
Someone might actually die in my Fatal 4-Way main event.
Ciampa and Moxley, Jesus.
With weapons.
Right.
So, let's move on to... Where do you want to go next?
Wherever.
Let's do this one.
All right. Fredericks the Breadsticks on Instagram
Awesome name.
asked us two questions. The first is, if WWE went out of business, where would some certain wrestlers go?
I could definitely see Balor eventually wanting to go either back in Japan or on NXT or on AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Japan would probably be his choice.
I think that there would be a lot of money to be made with this Forbidden Door stuff.
Yeah.
It'd probably show up on AEW and New Japan.
Right.
Let's see. I think. Who else? Who else do you want to throw some names out there?
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks would go to Stardom.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I'd love to see Sasha Banks on Stardom. AJ Styles back to Impact or back to New Japan or back to Ring of Honor.
No, he's wrestled everywhere. If WWE closed down,
so there's only one place left.
AEW.
Yep. Let's see.
Although I could see AJ Styles, if WWE closed down, just retiring.
Tommaso Ciampa would probably jump around on the Indies and wind up at Bloodsport.
Yeah, that'd be rad. I mean, honestly, if you look at it like in a money perspective, most likely AEW or New Japan.
Yeah, for most of them.
And with the climate right now, you could go to most any promotion and be used in all of them. So there are some wrestlers that I cannot see anywhere else.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns. Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman's WWE. I'd even say guys like the New Day. Especially, I can't really see Big E anywhere else. I could see Xavier on AEW because he's friends with Kenny.
Well, I think they all have friends elsewhere.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston's a WWE staple, though.
Like Randy Orton, I can't see anywhere else.
Although he's flirted with
Yes.
things. Yes,
said,
Orton would retire.
He'd say, ooh, what if, though?
Edge would show up in AEW.
Oh, man, get that tag team back together. Let's go, baby.
Or a feud.
Edge and Oh.
You
You left me!
You hugged me at Royal Rumble and then you left, you prick.
You Canadian prick. You're Canadian, too. Shut up!
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. I'd love to see him in Japan, but I could definitely see him going back to ICW or maybe even showing up in Rev Pro.
I would love to see Sheamus in New Japan.
Yeah, dude. They want to know what to make of him.
Oh yes, they would.
No, I mean the fans.
Oh,
They'd be like, whoa.
he'd be the next big badass Gaijin.
Yeah.
Shit.
Have him just run in and beat this hell out of Jay White.
Give me Cesaro to AEW and put the title on him.
Thank you. Any day. The part 2 of this is intriguing to me.
Okay. Frederick's second question was trade 2 tags and 3 singles from AEW to WWE.
Yeah, a lot of people ask us who from WWE should go to AEW. This is the reverse of that.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. Yeah, I mean, it's both.
Oh yeah, because it's trade. One person on the AEW roster that I could definitely see blending well with the WWE audience is MJF.
Yep.
Yeah. I could see him in a ready-made, like, available on the shelf to purchase at the register feud with The Miz.
Going off that, my 3 singles would be from AEW to WWE. I'd say MJF. I'd say Wardlow.
Yeah.
I'd say my third person is
Christian. No, I'm just playing. I'd really like to see what they could do with John Moxley.
Ray Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah, get hit. Oh,
They've been looking for the heir to Eddie and Ray. And
you might as well
squandered everything, and there's no way you can. Well, maybe not.
If they get Ray Phoenix, they may as well retire the cruiserweight title because he's going to win it. Nobody's ever going to get it back.
Right. Now, who am I trading for them?
Yeah. And then we'll do the tags.
I'll take Cesaro.
Yep.
I'll take Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
And I'll take Adam Cole, baby.
Ooh.
Because
that was a good answer.
Adam Cole is in NXT for this long because Triple H is so afraid of what Vince McMahon will do to him.
Absolutely.
Adam Cole, if he had a little bit more weight and maybe a couple more inches, would already be the Universal Champion. But, alas, he is not, and he's still in NXT. He will probably remain in NXT for a while. No, the 2 tags. See, that's... The 2 tags is rough.
Because there's no tag teams in WWE.
There are.
There are.
Vince just doesn't care about tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'll go with, since they've never signed there and they've worked in almost every other company, Kaz and Daniels. And I will also go with...
I like Kaz and Daniels. Yeah.
I will also go with... there's a lot of tag teams.
There are a lot of tag teams. Maybe, let's go for like a less obvious one.
I would go with 5 and 10.
5 and 10.
Preston Vance has a little... They would love him.
Preston Vance has a good shot with WWE if he were to go. 5 can do comedy, can do good actual wrestling.
He'd be good on 205 Live and NXT.
He'd be good on NXT. For them, I would take, I'd say, who do you think? The Usos? That's where my mind went.
My 2 tags that I would take from WWE to AEW would be, number 1, Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
they've conquered everywhere they've went. And WWE doesn't give a shit about tag team wrestling. So, put them in AEW. The other tag team... I could say the same for 2 other guys, but I think Kyle O'Reilly has a bright future in WWE, so I'm not going to say
Red
that.
Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that based on how they're using Kyle.
It's a rough one, dude. It's hard. Like,
just because I want to see them,
just
because I want to see them against Private Party, I'll say Street Profits.
Street Profits. Yeah, that's a good shout out. I mean, I'd love to see Montez Ford and Isaiah Cassidy interact.
Yeah. All that.
Give me all that.
Who are your 2 tags?
Let's see. My 2 tags.
You said Usos.
I'd take the Usos and give Kaz and Daniels. Let's see. I would take MSK and give, let's see. Who would clean up on NXT? I would take MSK and give Jurassic Express.
Nice. Very nice.
Because I think with as big as WWE is with as big on appealing to children as WWE is, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy are a shoo-in.
Absolutely.
And if you throw in Marco Stunt, kids adore Marco Stunt.
For sure.
So yeah, that's a good question. That was a good topic. Let's go here. Nick Setters on Twitter, good friend of ours.
Bloodsport 6 main event. Barnett or Moxley?
Kept it short, kept it sweet. Barnett or Moxley?
Moxley.
I'm going to have to go with Moxley as well. Keep that undefeated streak going. And assert dominance by beating the namesake of Bloodsport, Josh Barnett.
Yes. And hopefully it would lead to that weekend. Moxley comes off this big win, beating Josh Barnett at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. And Nick Gage beats Ricky Shane Page for the title at Spring Break. And then you have Moxley come out and challenge Gage for the GSW title. And
GCW title.
Yeah, GCW title. And
there's too many GWs.
Shit would be crazy. Give it to me now.
Yes, please.
Nick Sitters also asked you, because it definitely
Yeah, pretty
isn't
much
for
me. It's not for you. It's not for you at all.
because I don't remember. I don't remember them.
Favorite Mega Man boss? I am a big fan. I'm looking at the list here because there's one that I'm thinking of that I know I know part of it but not the whole thing. And I'm trying to see who I'm thinking of. I mean, Burst Man is great. My favorite Mega Man is Mega Man X. So, because of that, man, I can't think of what it is. It's the, like, fire elephant one. I think it's Flame something. Mega Man, Flame. Is that all that is all it is. Flame Mammoth from Mega Man X. I love Flame Mammoth. There you go. There you go. There you go, Nick. Thanks. Took me forever to... I thought that it had some crazy name. But no. What do we got here?
All right. King Martin on Instagram. You really like WWE.
Gave us a slew of WWE related topics.
I don't know if you watch any other thing other than WWE, and that's okay.
That's fine. Teach their own.
Thanks for listening to us.
Yeah.
WWE Dream Matches. Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle in an Iron Man match.
Yeah. Definitely.
Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. Fucking... Those are two right off the top of my head. Undertaker versus The Fiend in a Firefly Funhouse match.
I'm going to throw in Victoria versus Shotzi Blackheart.
I'm going to say Lita versus Shotzi Blackheart.
Lita versus Shotzi Blackheart, just as good.
I'm going to go with...
Molly Holly versus Candice LeRae.
Good one.
2 technicals.
Good one. Very good one.
WWE Hall of Famer, Molly Holly, by the way. Oh, you're grinning. You got a good one in there.
Lights out match. Hulk Hogan versus Keith Lee.
Oh, boy. I knew something was coming. That's hilarious. And I want to see it happen.
Daniel Bryan versus Chris Benoit.
Yeah, as much as it hurts to say it.
Daniel Bryan versus Eddie Guerrero.
Let's get Daniel Bryan versus Edge.
We might get
That
that
might
at
happen.
Mania.
Yeah.
A triple threat.
Daniel Bryan versus Kurt Angle.
Daniel Bryan and Cesaro versus anybody who was fucking technically good before them.
Yeah, there you go. Cesaro versus Mr. Perfect.
Damn good match. The British Bulldogs versus the Usos.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Hart Foundation against the New Day.
You're coming up with some good ones there, man. Let's do freaking Yokozuna versus Roman Reigns. Continue that, like, fighting the bloodline thing that he's doing.
Yeah. Trish Stratus. Who was Trish Stratus' last match?
Umaga versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus' last match, I believe, was... I want to say was against Lita.
She came back and... Didn't she wrestle Charlotte?
Was that Trish? Hold on.
Either way.
All I know is in the match she broke her wrist or something.
Luna Vachon versus Nikki Cross.
She had her final match against Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam 2019.
Yeah. So,
It's a rematch, I guess.
I'd probably put her against Bayley.
Yeah, Trish against Bayley. That's good.
Lita versus Sasha. Victoria versus Sasha. That's enough. You have a lot of other questions.
What championships to bring back to WWE?
None. They have too many already. What championships would you bring back?
I
Hardcore, European?
Okay, I do agree with the non-ideal, but I think a good promotional tactic for Cesaro would be for him himself to bring back the European title.
But they have the UK title.
No, like just start walking around with it like how Moose walked around with the TNA World.
Like the $1 million belt. Yeah, good idea, John. That's a good fucking idea.
Just be like, you don't want to give me a title, so here's mine, the European title. Carrying on the legacy of Rob Van Dam and other people. D'Lo Brown.
Chris,
yeah.
Christian,
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, etc. Possible WWE returns. Never say never when it comes to WWE returns. No
Never
one
say
believed that Ultimate Warrior would come back, but he did. I gotta say, I think the first person we're going to see return that we haven't seen in recent years, it's going to be the Great Khali. The expansion into India is something that they're really, really taking serious and crafting their time with.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind Great Khali will show up.
That's a good one. Possible WWE returns. I mean, you never say never with The Rock. He's coming back. He's come back a few times for a few matches here and there.
Mark Henry's been recently
Mark
talking
Henry,
about.
yeah. I mean, I'm never ready to give up on Punk.
There's a dream match: Mark Henry versus Keith Lee.
Mark
You're
Henry,
welcome.
Keith Lee. Is it possible we could even see Dustin jump ship back to WWE at some point?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Not even as like a coach or something? Maybe?
No.
I don't fucking know.
He'll be coaching the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Never mind what I said. I'm a fucking retard. I'm gonna cut that out. I don't want to say that word.
Should general managers return to WWE? No.
No, I mean, we kind of already have Adam Pearce in that role already.
The only good general manager right now on WWE is William Regal, and that's because he's used sparingly.
Yeah.
When the general manager role was on Raw and SmackDown, it was a constant thing.
The only time
I think
the only time it was good was when it was Eric Bischoff on Raw.
And it wore out its welcome. There doesn't need to be an on-screen authority figure. Let things happen.
Thank you. What WWE star will hold heavyweight gold in 2021? If I'm the booker, I'm saying Cesaro. But I'm a casual fan, so I'm going to say he's got no chance in hell.
Yeah. Right. I mean, right now you got like Lashley, Sheamus, and Drew running around for the WWE title, and Roman Reigns.
Lashley is the WWE champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're the three, kind of like.
Yeah.
That's like the picture. So.
What WWE star will hold gold in 2021? Edge. I think Edge is going to have another run.
Maybe the Fiend.
Maybe the Fiend. Probably fucking Goldberg at some point.
No.
Yes.
Goldberg's last match was the one he had.
Yeah.
He redeemed himself for the
You
Undertaker's
can
screw
say
up.
that as much as you want. You can say it till the cows come home.
You could tell whenever he hugged Drew, he was thanking him for letting him try to wipe the slate clean after that horrendous thing.
We'll see what happens when they want to sell another video game, bud.
Heavyweight gold, man.
Miz.
Maybe.
Miz has another run in him. Randy has another run in him.
You think they're gonna give it to anybody younger?
Anybody younger?
Like newer?
Who's young? Oh, maybe,
Seemed like Keith Lee was kind of on that path.
yeah.
And if they keep the title on Lashley, I could see a nice feud
Keith Lee's a
there.
damn good match for him.
I'll tell you this. If Edge wins at WrestleMania, my mind will change on who could win. But if the title stays on Roman Reigns, they're not going to have Roman lose to anyone until they're going to pass the mantle.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Brock Lesnar situation. They're not going... Roman is going to be dominant until there's someone that Vince and Triple H see as an heir. And that could be Balor, the original Universal Champion. That could be Adam Cole if they decide to go that route. But yeah. That was all of his questions?
Yeah.
All right. Our good friend, the Nerdy Mark,
yep, here we go.
asks, what old title design should they bring back? What old
title design should be brought back to WWE? Number one, the Winged Eagle.
Winged Eagle, number one.
Get rid of every title that has the fucking W on it, first of all.
Please.
Other than the UK title. It's the only one that looks good. I actually liked the big oval shaped Intercontinental belt. I liked that better than what they have now.
The old school one?
Yeah.
The Cody brought back.
No. The one that like Rob Van Dam had. The big oval one.
I like the other old school one. The one that Cody brought back.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
I liked the white strap.
They need to bring back an old U.S. title. Probably the one that Eddie Guerrero held.
Yeah.
Because that was before the U.S. title got into like gimmicks with like Cena and shit and
right.
all that.
I mean, the one that they have now is way better than what they did have.
It makes sense. All right, I'm very against the WWE titles because of the branding just right in your face. But it kind of makes sense with the WWE Universe and the Universal title. So I don't know if I would change that.
Yeah.
I love the big gold belt.
Yeah, man, the fucking Ric Flair Triple H belt, Batista belt.
Yeah.
Edge belt for a while.
For a while,
Yeah.
like 12 times or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually really did like the look of the Undisputed title that Jericho started, or when he first won the Undisputed title, and they made the new belt. I like that one. That's the one that like JBL held and Triple H held. It was like it had like, I don't know how to describe it. It was very ornate.
Cool.
Yeah, that one.
That's about it for me. Tag team championships.
I wouldn't change.
The
tag team champions. What they have now is better than the giant pennies that they had before.
They just turned the pennies into nickels.
They look better in silver than they did in bronze.
Correct.
But you know what I mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean, cuz.
Actually, don't bring back an old title design for the tag belts. Just make something new and better.
Yeah. You know what?
Because the old ones kind of suck too.
Do that in general.
Yeah. Complete overhaul.
Yeah. I mean, you got a beautiful title in the North American NXT belt and the NXT
All the
UK.
NXT belts are good.
Yeah. For the most part.
I like them all. I did prefer the old Giant X NXT title.
Well, they had to change all the titles because
I know. I don't want to talk about it. It's been done
no
to
one
fucking
wants
death.
to talk about it.
No, a lot of people do want to talk about it, and it's fucking cringy.
All right. Next.
Brandon Montgomery. Who's that? Our good friend Brandon Montgomery of the Talkin' Suplexes blog. I don't like the word blog. It has nothing to do with him or Talkin' Suplexes. I just hate the word. Because it sounds like blah. Brandon Montgomery of the Talkin' Suplexes blog. Best commentator not named Jim Ross. Kevin Kelly. That's my answer. And also thoughts on if Triple H is as good at scouting talent as people say, or if there's any truth to people saying he's not good at scouting talent, and how he compares to John Laurinaitis. For me to answer that, I'd have to have a list of everyone John Laurinaitis got and everyone Triple H got.
Tried to look this up. Everything said that John Laurinaitis took over his executive position after Jim Ross stepped down and cruised on the work of Jim Ross. So I'm going to say Triple H. Best commentator not named Jim Ross. If we're talking all time and an individual.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, you got to give props to Bobby Heenan.
No, I was going to say, as a duo, Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon were fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But Bobby Heenan needs somebody to bounce off of. But
I never got to experience it myself, but history tells me that Gordon Sully is a good answer for this question.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
Yoshitatsu.
No, stop. He took time out of his day to ask us a good question, and you came at him with Yoshitatsu. Yes. No.
I would say the first guys that I would think about standing alone, not bouncing things off of people.
Joe Styles.
He's overrated.
I disagree, but I will secede.
I think Tony Schiavone is doing the best work of his career in AEW.
Yeah, that's true.
Kevin Kelly
I think Excalibur is great.
Excalibur is fantastic.
Whoever's doing English on Noah is great. I don't know their names, but they're both fantastic.
Fuck, I was talking, and I don't remember where I was going to go, but it was a good one.
I threw you off with Joey Styles. Do you remember before that? Solo X.
Yeah. I'll say this. Beth Phoenix is pretty fucking good.
She really is. Yeah, that's one I didn't even think of. But she's really good. Wade Barrett's good.
Oh, you have to give this man credit, whether you like him or not.
Michael Cole?
Absolutely.
Yep. I'm going to bring up his work with the UK tournament, the first one that they had.
The Beast
when
he
was by his damn self. Yeah.
When they allow him to be that actual commentator, he can do it. He could do anything. The reason he took over at JR's position is because he literally can do everything and anything that Vince wants.
Yeah.
And apparently behind the stage, behind the screen,
he
helps everyone.
I'll tell you what, I don't understand how he's not a Hall of Famer by now. I really don't.
I'm going to say this, though. Best commentator not named Jim Ross, Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah, that's a good shout out. I'm gonna stick with Kevin Kelly as my official answer, but Mauro Ranallo is also a great answer.
Yeah.
That was a great question. And Brandon Montgomery's a good fucking dude. Check out the Talkin' Suplexes blog. I'm gonna link it in the damn bio. Or description, not bio. Check it out.
Sun Sigil on Instagram wanted us to talk about a couple of subjects. One was DIY's explosion in their takeover matches. And that. Now, when DIY exploded onto the NXT scene, they did have matches as a tag team prior to being signed and prior to the Cruiserweight Classic. The Cruiserweight Classic brought them into NXT. But you have to think about this. That time period was the pinnacle of tag team wrestling in NXT. You had Authors of Pain, The Revival, or whatever the fuck that is that what they're called? Revival, yeah.
Yeah.
The Revival.
The Revival.
I was trying to remember their old name, and apparently I got it.
Yeah.
American Alpha.
Yeah,
DIY.
dude.
I mean, this shit was awesome. And they were always underdogs. They were somehow always getting screwed out. But TakeOver Toronto was a 2 out of 3 match, 2 out of 3 falls match against the Revival, and they won. And that was an amazing match. And if you've never seen it, whoever's watching this, go and watch that match. So good.
Yeah. Great stuff.
He also wanted us to talk about the Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio feud whenever it was the custody of Dominic. This feud, I believe, really solidified Rey Mysterio as a top babyface.
Very much so.
Because Eddie's heel work was fantastic.
I'd say second to none.
Second to none. And thinking about that storyline and thinking about what has happened since and seeing Dominic on Raw and SmackDown.
It's pretty great. It's
just
pretty cool.
Incredible. I did not watch this in real time.
I did. I did.
So,
yes.
John, talk a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
man. I was big into the E during the Ruthless Aggression era when this took place. I remember the culmination most of all was the ladder match that had the custody papers hanging above the ring, and it gave us the incredible the incredible outtake of the "Where the fuck was Vicky" thing. If you've ever heard that, that's where it was from.
In the ladder match.
Yeah, in the ladder match. Where the fuck was Vicky? I remember the freaking WWE shop website crashing several times due only to sales of the "I'm Your Poppy" t-shirt. Everybody that I knew that watched wrestling had that shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like you said, it solidified Ray as the quintessential babyface. It solidified Eddie as one of the best damn heels to ever exist.
Best damn wrestlers.
Best damn wrestlers to ever exist. Both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
So
That was definitely one of the highlights of the Ruthless Aggression era.
So going from 2 of the greatest Latino wrestlers, we're going to go to a question about another Latino wrestler. Zachary Lind on Instagram asks us to talk about Andrade's wanting to get out of the WWE. I am going to quote Bleacher Report for this.
Yeah.
This is written by Mike Chiari on March 13th, 2021. WWE has reportedly turned down a request to release former NXT and United States champion Andrade. According to F4W Online, Andrade reportedly asked for his release, but WWE has denied the request at this time. WrestlingInc.com first reported Friday that Andrade asked for his release Monday at Raw, and Alex McCarthy of TalkSport later confirmed the report. Andrade has not been seen on WWE programming since losing a match to Angel Garza on the October 12, 2020 edition of Raw. The 31-year-old native of Mexico signed a developmental deal with WWE in 2015 and made his in-ring debut for NXT in 2016. After a lackluster run as a babyface under the name Andrade Cien Almas, Andrade aligned himself with Zelina Vega and turned heel. He then reached new heights, beating Drew McIntyre for the NXT Championship and holding it for 140 days. Andrade and Vega got called up to the main roster in 2017 and established themselves as a key mid-card act.
I can't believe that was 2017.
Most notably, they engaged
so
in a
ago.
long-running rivalry with Rey Mysterio that resulted in several high-quality matches on both SmackDown and Raw. El Idolo won the United States Championship
El
during that feud
Idolo.
and went on to hold it for 150 days before dropping it to Apollo Crews. Vega was released in November during Andrade's absence from television, meaning he will be without an important part of his act if and when he returns to action for WWE. One way to potentially freshen things up would be to pair him with his real-life fiancée, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte told Scott Fishman of TV Insider earlier this month that she has pitched an idea for a storyline with Andrade to WWE's higher-ups. While Andrade is still working on his English-speaking skills, he is already a masterful performer in the ring, which suggests he should have value to WWE with or without a mouthpiece. Perhaps that is why the company is reportedly reluctant to part ways with him. If WWE does eventually decide to release Andrade, however, he will likely have every other major company fighting to sign him. AEW would be the most popular choice since it has emerged as the number 2 promotion behind WWE, but Andrade would essentially have his pick of the litter. Andrade is also very good friends with the Ingobernable Rush. He has roots in New Japan.
Yeah.
When he was in
La
CMLL as La Sombra, and he was in Los Ingobernables. I think this, and I'll say
They're
this.
gonna let him go.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to apply to Aleister Black as well.
Yeah.
You have 2 top talent. You're not doing anything with. They're sitting at home. These people are passionate about their craft. The people who are watching are passionate about watching them give us good wrestling, do the right thing, and release him. And if you don't release him, take Charlotte's
Figure
idea.
out what the hell you're doing.
Seriously. You're wasting
WWE's favorite
so
thing to
much
do.
potential.
WWE's favorite thing to do is to let people sit the fuck at home when they ask for a release.
Or just sit the fucking home.
Or just sit the fucking home. They'll tell their people not to expect raises and bonuses during the pandemic, but then hire 25 independent stars.
Only so that they don't go to any other competition.
Only so they go to any competition. And they'll do all this, and we'll see the same 5 people on Raw and SmackDown for the next decade. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's cringy. It's
one of the reasons I don't like watching WWE.
Yeah.
Andrade should be granted his release, and if not, then they better fucking do something with him quick. And the same thing for Aleister Black. Why do you have these guys sitting at home? Is your creative not creative enough? Maybe you shouldn't hire Hollywood writers. Idiots.
Thank you.
I want to finish on that one.
Want to finish on that one? I want to finish on this one.
Oh, no.
Let's do this one now, then.
All right.
We actually got a topic from a source that would prefer to remain anonymous. He shared an article with me about an independent wrestler who has been suspended from his home promotion after performing a spot which was unrehearsed and unplanned, where he set himself on fire and jumped into a crowd of wrestlers waiting on the floor. That's already a what the fuck moment, but the biggest what the fuck of it is that this was a show where obviously women and children were in attendance, and this show had no barriers to protect the crowd and no floor mats even. I don't understand how this stops at getting suspended.
You set yourself on fire, you should get fired.
You should get fired. I'd say borderline should be arrested.
The entire promotion should shut down, if you ask me.
That's
no barriers
that's fair.
and floor mats?
Yeah.
You're letting unplanned shit go on and just letting a suspension happen.
Although it is fully possible that this guy just went into business for himself and
Then he shouldn't be working.
he shouldn't be working.
But we're in a pandemic and you don't have barriers and floor mats?
Yeah,
Fuck is wrong with you?
exactly.
You're a shitty promotion.
Yep. I mean, that's really all there is to say about that, but I just wanted to throw that in there because I couldn't not talk about that story. Right. That was insane to me when I found out about it.
My friend, he is a rapper from Michigan. His name is The Donny Boy on SoundCloud.
The Donny Boy.
He said, "Is Ric Flair really that good? Is the nostalgia better than the character?" Let me go to the second part.
He said that like the look, the name, and the mannerisms and everything was stolen. But if not knowing anything, I was always under the impression that it was like a torch that was handed down.
I believe that
from
was so.
Buddy Rogers.
I believe that's true. And Ric Flair took it and ran with it and made it a huge thing. Is Ric Flair really that good? On the mic? Yes. At selling? Yes. At being able to go 60 minutes? Yes. At putting on the same match every night of his entire 70-year career? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he the best of all time? No. Not to me. Is he one of them?
I'd say he's one of them, and he's definitely one of the biggest draws of all time, and one of the best characters of all time. But wrestlers, maybe not. As far as the nostalgia being better than the character
is the nostalgia.
The character is the nostalgia. You could say that about anybody. You could say that about Macho Man. You could say that about the Warrior. You can damn sure say it about Hulk Hogan now. The nostalgia and character is clearly better than the human being in that scenario. But yeah, man, I mean, you still go on YouTube and you type in Ric Flair promo. There's millions of results, all with probably millions of views each.
And he's had great matches. I'm not saying he wasn't a great wrestler, but
I mean, the retirement match against Shawn Michaels is one of the greatest moments in WWE history.
The trilogy with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, his feud with Dusty, his match against Kerry Von Erich. I mean,
not to mention WCW with the War Games and the Horsemen.
Yep,
the Horsemen. Butcher.
But I mean, like, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about, like, is he the greatest character of all time? Probably.
He's one of them. Yeah.
Is he the best technical wrestler of all time? Probably no. You know, the question was still a little ambiguous. So that's why you're getting a lot of different answers from me right now.
Let's go with our question that we got from the Oracle, which is the name given to my mother by Mr. Tim Farley. She asks, current AEW star pushes that we agree or disagree with. I'm going to let you start.
I agree with the Pinnacle.
I agree with the Pinnacle. It's a weird question because there are pushes I agree with, but not the direction of the push. Case in point, Miro. With what happened, with hopefully this arcade death match, whatever they're calling it, will be the end of this thing with the best friends. And hopefully very soon the end of the partnership with Kip Sabian. But the push, I agree with. I just want to change the push.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He should adopt, after what happened on Twitter with him and Cornette.
Yeah.
He could adopt a whole new gimmick.
And he's already, I mean, that was like a default face turn for Miro.
I'll say one
Is there
that
anybody that you disagree with?
I don't know if I necessarily disagree with the push, but I disagree with what happened. I said when we watched the main event, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa and the Lights Out.
Yeah.
The winner of this match should be next in line for Hikaru Shida.
And it should have been Britt Baker.
It should have been Britt Baker. Britt Baker has been the entire charisma of the AEW women's division since it started. She was the first woman announced on the roster. She was at the big thing in Jacksonville with Jericho and the Bucks and all of them. She has been amazing since going to AEW.
Yeah.
She has improved so much. She is constantly a character I want to see. And now she's doing, this is not the first match she's gotten hardcore in, but that match was fucking amazing. And shout out to Thunder Rosa too. I love Thunder Rosa. But Britt Baker needs to be the one to dethrone Shida.
Yeah.
And maybe that still happens. Maybe Rosa gets her chance and loses, and Britt Baker gets her chance and wins and shoves it in Rosa's face, and we get that feud for the title.
There you go.
But I mean, I don't disagree with.
I don't disagree with pushing Rosa. I disagree with not pushing Britt.
Right. But I'm trying to think of other things in AEW. I really want to see more of Angelico and Jack Evans.
Yeah.
Especially Angelico because he's younger than Jack Evans. I'm really digging the Pentagon push.
Ooh, yeah. And that like kind of just started.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Really digging Lance Archer is in a good place right now. This shit with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley is fantastic. Give me it all the time. Inject it into my veins.
You want the podcast. You want the Buddy road trip movie. You want it all.
Yes, absolutely.
Make a t-shirt. Please let this.
They could go to Cincinnati.
Go to Cincinnati.
They could go to New York. They could go to Vegas. Shit, man.
Eddie and Mox take America.
Yeah. Tommy Top Shelf on Twitter.
Tommy Top Shelf
asked us our favorite shows we've seen live. And I was grounded for the King of the Ring, where Mankind got thrown off the fucking cell.
Damn.
Or I would have been there. But my favorite show I've seen live is probably SummerSlam 96. It was headlined by Mabel and Nash, but we had a young Kane as Isaac Yankem DDS against Bret Hart.
Damn, you saw Isaac Yankem?
I did.
Wow, live.
Yes,
that's
but
crazy.
On this show,
it feels like that was so much longer ago than you're alive.
Ladder match, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels. It's awesome.
You saw that?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I've been to a bunch of Raws and SmackDowns and house shows.
That's the thing, man. I can't really.
There was a show, the last wrestling show that happened in the Igloo. If you don't know what the Igloo is, that's
it was the Mellon Arena, then the Civic Arena.
The Civic Arena.
Yeah. No, it was the Civic Arena, then the Mellon Arena.
It was during,
but it was always called the Igloo.
It was during Edge and Randy Orton's feud, and NXT season 1 guys were there, like Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And Edge was fucking awesome. Like, just seeing his entrance live and
yeah.
Oh man, it was so good.
I got to see Kane's entrance live. I got to see Jericho's entrance live. I got to live out a dream of witnessing an Undertaker entrance live once.
Oh
yeah,
so did I. Creeped me out. I was little. I was very little.
I can't say that I haven't really been to a lot of live shows. I've been to a bunch of indie shows, a couple Raws, a couple SmackDowns, but I've gone to 2 pay-per-views. I went to Extreme Rules 2017 or 2018. I think it was 2017. And no, I think it was 2018, now that I'm thinking about it. Whichever one was in Pittsburgh. Google it. And I went to Armageddon in 2007. Those are the 2 pay-per-views I've been to. And I was at the 3rd ever AEW Dynamite. That was an awesome show to go to. Because that was where I loved going to that live show. Because that is the first time I've ever been part of the mass exodus into the concourse when a brawl takes place.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got to go out and be part of that.
Inner Circle versus who?
Inner Circle versus Cody.
Yes.
And I think Dustin got involved, and probably QT Marshall. But it was the moment where they broke the damn Dippin' Dots, as JR said.
Right.
And then it happened again on another show, and I was like, that was us. We started that. We started the Dippin' Dots gimmick. I mean, yeah, going to AEW Live was awesome.
Tell you what the worst show I ever went to was.
Yeah, I can't think of any that were, like, god-awful.
Me and one of my best friends, Drake, and another friend, decided to go see TNA Impact Wrestling at a baseball stadium instead of going to Mayhem Fest, which was the last, like, tour Motorhead did before Lemmy died. Slipknot was also on the show.
Bro, why?
Now,
why did you do that?
Because at the time...
Well, you did.
At the time...
you didn't know Lemmy was going to die.
At the time, shitty-ass Austin Aries wasn't so shitty yet. Bobby Roode and him were having a good feud. Jeff Hardy was there. You know, like... we were into it.
Yeah.
But my God.
I went to a TNA show.
It was absolutely... The only good thing about the show was... I got to meet Earl Hebner randomly.
That's cool.
He was standing around, and I just went up to him, and I was like, Earl Hebner. And he was like, yeah? And I was like, who's your favorite wrestler of all time? He was like, Stone Cold.
Hell yeah.
Like it just rolled off his mouth.
Bam.
He was like, I made the most money with Stone Cold. Did the best stuff with Stone Cold. And I was like, thanks, Earl. And I walked away. But then, like, there was just so many, like, weird and shitty fans, just, like, drunken and, like, way too drunk.
Well, like WWE people.
These people were just, like, straight up,
just drunks.
Out the fucking backwoods, you know what I'm saying? And
I know exactly what you're saying.
Oh, dude.
Rural Pennsylvania people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it was just, like... The entire experience was just kind of shitty because it was hard finding the place. It was hard getting out of the place. We got lost for a while, which was not great. But
I feel like that has nothing to do with TNA.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. No, I mean, the show was lackluster. Very lackluster.
Yeah, but you mentioned that you got lost. Like, that's not really...
Let's talk about the entire experience. Like, the entire experience was shit.
Yeah.
We did get to take our picture with Austin Aries, which was cool at the time.
In hindsight.
But now I'm just kind of like, this guy is a prick. But,
yeah, I went to one TNA show before Impact was even a thing.
Was it Ross Driver Ice Garden?
What's that?
Was it at the Ross Driver Ice Garden? Because that's where they always went.
I don't know what that is. It was in a venue that we had to go in and go upstairs.
Might have been.
It was like a club or something. But I met a lot of people at that. I actually met Sienna, who is now Allison Kay. I met Abyss. I met Kurt Angle. I met Jeff Jarrett. Abyss was the one guy that I was like, I gotta meet Abyss. That was my guy. Because at that time I was small, and Abyss was like,
yeah.
I was like don't judge me, but I was a kid. I was like, he's New Kane. He's New Kane. Like, that's what
everybody thought.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of Kane and Mankind. And,
Right.
And I don't know if you know
I
this,
loved
John,
this.
but they tried to sign him back in the day.
Who, WWE did?
Yeah. To either be an Undertaker opponent for Mania or Kane opponent for Mania.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But he said no.
Yeah, well, I think he probably made the right move. He made a lot of money with TNA.
Yeah, and now he is
Ring of Honor,
working.
and now
for
he is
WWE.
working with WWE. Is he a writer or a
Agent
scout?
I don't know. He does something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Global Syndicate.
I've been to a few good shows.
Yeah. Global Syndicate Wrestling on Twitter asked
Favorite
us
match from Inception.
what our favorite match from Inception was,
Their first show.
which you can still see on Fight TV.
Yeah, man. Fight TV.
Just because of how I feel about Austin Aries, I'm not going to say Aries and Hammerstone.
Hilarious.
I will say Deonna Purrazzo and Trish Adora. I'm a huge Deonna fan, and I think and Trish Adora has stormed onto the scene, and she's very good. The great match. But my favorite moment of the show was our boy Jacob Fatu showing up and wrecking shit. If you haven't heard of GSW, it's a new independent promotion. They'll be running 4 pay-per-views a year. They're also doing a women's tournament to crown the women's title.
This is their next show.
Yeah, GCW Catalyst. But
Yeah, GSW.
GSW, Jesus fuck.
They're the same name.
Chris
It's
Dickinson.
not our fault.
Chris Dickinson showed up, which I was very happy about.
Yeah.
He's like gonna challenge Hammerstone, so I'm excited for
Yes,
that.
and by the way, my answer, I am going to say, that's all. There's no information.
Then let me look something up because
I had it on Cage Match.
I wanted to say some stuff about the women's tournament.
I don't know anything about that yet.
I know,
But
I also like to see Masha Slamovich, and I'm glad that she's gonna be on Bloodsport too.
yeah,
I never had heard of her, and I was glad to
and
see her.
I am going to say my favorite match was Hammerstone versus Aries because Aries lost.
Right.
And I fucking love Alex Hammerstone. I have for a long time.
Me too. And then every time we talk to Fatu and he tells us more stories about him, it just makes me love him more.
Definitely.
Let me get some information here.
But yeah, their next pay-per-view is GSW Catalyst. It's on May 22nd. Mark your calendars, folks.
The inaugural Global Cup to crown the first ever GSW Women's World Champion begins with 4 huge first-round matchups at GSW Catalyst on May 22nd. We have Kimberly versus Trish Adora.
Hell yeah.
Hyan. She was on the first show. She's also been an AAW stalwart against Sienna. Deonna Purrazzo against Jordan Blade. And Holly Dead against Vicious Vicky.
Holly Dead, huh? There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, so, I mean, GSW's next show, which is in May, called Catalyst, is shaping up to be a good show. The last question for fans. Bring the questions. Kevin, the wrestling fan on Instagram, asks, who should Omega lose the AEW title to? And we've been saying things about this for months. But
Hangman Page or Kota Ibushi?
Yep. I say he gets the Impact.
I want you to do your whole little thing. I want you to give your spiel.
Yep.
Because it's great.
He gets the Impact title. He's holding all these belts. He might even get the Noah belt off of Muta, because Muta talked about they were in conversations with Impact. That'd be something.
He's also got that guy from Dragon Gate to look at. The guy that challenged him, that he said he'd show up when he could.
No, DDT.
Tetsuya
Endo.
Yeah.
But Endo lost the title to Akiyama, but they could change that
He
quickly.
can still do it.
Yeah. You're going to have Omega basically bridging all of these places for a year. And the last Infinity Stone that he's going to need is the title that Kota Ibushi, his golden lover, made out of the IWGP
His
Heavyweight
best
title
friend.
and the Intercontinental title as the IWGP World Heavyweight title. And next year at Wrestle Kingdom, Kota Ibushi is going to crush Omega's dreams and his psyche. And from there, at Revolution, he will lose the AEW title to Hangman Adam Page. And then at Rebellion or Hard to Kill, he will lose the Impact title to Moose.
Moose.
And from there on, whatever happens, happens. But that's what I'm saying.
It's got to be Hangman or Kota.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing Kota with the IWGP and AEW title would be fucking bonkers.
Yeah, but it makes too much sense to not put on Hangman.
Exactly.
And crown Hangman as a top guy that we all know him to be. Now, John.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Oh,
this time.
switching it up on me.
It's a big topic.
It is a big topic.
And I know how much both of us cared. What do you think about Kylie Ray coming back to Warrior Wrestling?
I think I actually got emotional when I saw the announcement.
Me too.
Because it's such a victory for her. It's such a mental victory for her. And it's such an emotional victory for her already. It doesn't matter if she wins or loses this fucking match.
100.
It's just the fact that she's going to continue doing what she loves to do.
Yes.
Is so great.
Yes. And I feel the same way. Scott D'Amore has said that she can come back to Impact whenever she wants. Apparently her contract isn't up yet, but even if it was, I don't think there'd be an issue there. I don't know exactly why she stopped, but it seemed to either be overexposure from television because she stopped with AEW and she stopped with Impact, or it was social media. So with Kylie coming back, I would say do what's best for you. Keep your mental health or whatever number one, but thank God you did not give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Because we love you.
We love you.
And with that...
Hold on. There's one thing that we didn't get to. So, while the outro music plays, and while we go off the air, I want you to tell me how good Shingo Takagi is.
Shingo fucking Takagi, okay? Ever since he started wrestling, has been a top guy. The guy has swag. He's gripping, motherfucker. If you look at him in Dragon Gate, he's always had the hairstyle on point. He's always had the singlet. He was tough, strong. He was the Dragon Gate guy you did not want to fuck with. Now, he's in New Japan, and he's got the fucking huge Akuma balls on his neck. He's got the robe. He's got the fucking Rampage Dragon mask. He can lariat you out of a fucking stadium. He could fucking put you on his shoulders and throw you down on your neck. He could fucking fly over the ropes. He could shit talk with the best of them. You don't believe me? Go watch Dragon Gate USA. Daniel Bryan, with Bryan Danielson, and Shingo Takagi. If you're not sold on Shingo Takagi from that match, you're an idiot.
You're a lost cause.
You're a lost cause. This man's New Japan Cup run right now is unrivaled. He is the man of March. What can I say? He's been the leader of factions, and he's been in amazing factions. And right now, he's in the top faction of Japan.
Hell yes.
So, and he's almost at Naito's level. He beat Okada.
beer with Coda.
Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, noon, or night, you have a great one. And peace, love to all of you.
Bang!